We need a study of the shadows. The shadow of the moon, the shadow of the earth, and the sun doesn't have a shadow. It's the only thing that doesn't have a shadow. As far as I know, logically speaking, doesn't have a shadow.
And everything else is going around it.
I did a search, to ask if there had been any studies directly on the shadow itself. Like whenever I talk about time itself, it's a very important thing to tack on there, hyphen itself. Time itself is all about Chronocosmonomy because we elevate that TimeSpace-Waves way beyond space as the primary. We switch it. It has to be done. So it's all about time itself, and as Sir Isaac Newton said, absolute time. I emphasize absolute as more than the R word. So we have to study, we must experiment with it. I'm going to lay out a theoretical basis for what I'm looking for, because there's something really wrong, possibly, which would change our measuring of the distance to the moon from the earth. That distance, Earth-Moon distance, is in question. I know the ancient Greek Eratosthenes did do that, and he's like Socrates, he's like Pythagoras, he's like Thales. Fine, I'm like who I am too. I kind of look like one of those Greeks, By the way, look at the pictures of Leonardo da Vinci. Long hair, beard, if you understand appearances, like the appearance of Venus in the sky, the appearance of the shadow of the moon. And take a look at Sir Isaac Newton, to mention him again, long hair, all of his life. So I'm questioning all this. I'm doing the thought experiments. I'm suggesting that we need to question everything. That's like one of my mottos. It's basically a scientific method. I am like a serious, hardcore scientist.
So,
wow.
I'll wrap this up is by
you don't need to come from somewhere and be told and get metal pinned on your chest and be in the ivory tower. You don't need that. You just need that in here, in your noggin, the brain, the cerebral cortex and all that. If that's where thinking is, consciousness and memory and the willpower. No, it's in the other organs too, and your whole body and your whole soul. If that exists, does it exist? Just, you have to live and breathe in your being that you are a scientist, a natural philosopher first and foremost, that type of scientist. And let's get back to, aside from all this, that we have to be taken seriously and have credibility and respect and give everything a chance. It's new, it's shocking, but listen, the shadow itself, just like time itself, needs to be seriously examined, because I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm not just saying, oh yeah, Eratosthenes got it right. Was it Eratosthenes, or was it?
I'm not even going to start to talk about that.
The one from Samos, of Samos.
But I will say
wasn't Aristotle.
As we have these centers that are built upon each other.
I'm sorry if I
the Earth is
got the name from thousands of years ago.
Go around the sun, and then the sun
kind of fuzzy by now.
go around Neptune.
By the way, just a name drop. not really name drop, but in history there was a person called Philolaus. Look him up. Philolaus. Philolaus. Philolaus was the proponent of a model of the universe, which was very interesting, very, very interesting. It was another center. That is the only thing in all of history that I've been able to find in known recorded history after we lost the Library of Alexandria. That is the only one that would even remotely compare to the model that I'm putting forth, with the unknown center. That is the white hole where the worm tunnel leads to. It leads to, and it's anchored in that wormhole. The worm tunnel to the white hole is where all of the planets are released. That's their birth point. I'm not talking about clouds and some magic hocus pocus, like it just somehow congeals on its own in this random bunch of clouds. Well, how did that cloud get there? How are you saying that? Anyhow, I'm not arguing out of a paper bag. I don't care for that. If somebody wants to argue that, then let's have a debate. But what I'm doing is I'm promoting what I posit, my theories. The shadow itself is in question because I have just asked every which way that I can about the reigning consensus that, let me spell it out for you, if you've watched this far, and let me tell you why I question everything. Because they just told me that the shadow of the moon is different than the shadow of the earth. Not that they're two separate things, duh, we know that, but that they have different proportions and different structure. So let me explain. The 3.67 approximation of the how many times the earth is to the moon compared to the moon, which is a diameter. That's just a 3.67 times what's the diameter of the moon. The earth is that much more. That is if it's correct, according to those proportions. Now, if the body of the moon is less by 3.67 times, the earth is 3.67 times of the moon, like 1, 2, 3, stack them up in 0.67. That's about 2/3. 67% is about 2/3. So 3.67. And why would the moon's shadow be tiny? They look it up, ask, go to the search, go to the AI. It keeps saying tiny shadow. The moon has a tiny, tiny shadow. Why? It would have the same commensurate shadow based on the same angles, the same